Thank you so very much for staying with us, everyone. We have papers for you up ahead, but then we are being joined live for our first discussion, which has to do with the SANU and NASU 7-day warning strike that started yesterday. Today it enters the second day. So far, not a word from the government side has been heard. So we are not even sure what the government's response will be in this regard. We're joined now via Zoom by the President, Yoruba Council Worldwide, who himself is a lawyer, talking about Oladotun Hassan, to lend his voice. I mean, for somebody who has also passed through the university system in this country and has been watching very keenly, like most of us as well, the developments within the public university system, is able to help us shed light on many of these issues. Hassan, a very good morning to you, and thank you for joining us on the program.
Yes, good morning. It's a pleasure to do your program this morning.
I'd like to, first off, say belated happy birthday to you, even though I didn't ask for a piece of chicken and a bottle of red wine.
Thank you very much. I'm very grateful for your prayers. And
great. So I want us to get this conversation on the road. Myself and my colleague, Queen Agaba, will be getting pretty interactive with you in the next couple of minutes. So first of all, this is not ASU that is on strike. This is SANU on the one hand and NASU on the other hand. This is a collaboration of some sort, as those in the world of music would say. What does it mean for public university system, even though we know ASU is not particularly a part of this 7-day warning strike?
Well, you know, ASU, SANU, NASU, the NASU are the non-academic staff union. The SANU are the senior staff union of the university. And ASU is just academic staff union. So ASU claiming no knowledge of this is just like a figment of deceit, because these are same organs within the different branches within a university community. But regrettably, many years down the line, it seems the recurrent of strike system in our university is now a ritual that inevitably gives these lecturers, staffs, and the management authority of university an impediment blockade. They are causing an impediment blockade to the growth and development of tertiary education. Regrettably, majority of their demands will be met at various points in time. And you cannot use a one-size-fits-all. That is why the University Autonomous Law was signed by Olusegun Obasanjo then, which gives a figment of independence for every vice chancellor to manage their institutional structures and their management and administrative structures. And it also goes to say in terms of finances. And that is where we now begin to act. Is it that the lecturers or these staffs are not earning more than what they deserve, or are they expecting within the confines of where we are today? Can they show patriotism? We know how much years we've lost, no matter how. In my university days, I went to Lagos State University, and coupled for a whole number of 3 years was lost due to ASU strike. 3 years. Cumulatively was lost to ASU strike. For a 5-year course, we end up spending 9 years. Cumulatively for you to go to law school and every other thing. So this has now, and there is no solution aside. Moreover, federal government had paid the ASU workers about 4 months' salary in order to quell whatever grievances they might be facing within their universities, which for a job not done, those periods they were to be paid for were agitations for the period they were on strike, for the same strike that they are going to. This is just stupidity. I want to let a particular union, ASU is a union, SANU is a union. I'm a unionist, and there is a limitation to reasoning, to what you can be able to expect when you are fighting a particular cause. I've always learned to approach the treaty whereby you have to consult, you have to consolidate before you confront. But ASU never had any modalities, or SANU or NASU, those are modalities of consultation. Before confrontation, they only just go for confrontation, via strike, shutting down schools with threats. These are just archaic manner of fighting. You need to explore other critical areas. If you know you have your demand, go to the conventional court that is expected for you. That is the industrial court, whereby you go there and push your issues. ASU cannot just be going on strike. There is an industrial court that they need to approach things with. They cannot, as university lecturers who are teaching, who are law, we have law lecturers, professors, and all that. All they can do is to approach crudity to implement their policy. Then what are they teaching the students? When you don't go through the due process of implementing an administrative process, whereby if you know that you have an issue, you put up your legal department must write. Not at every given point in time, you now expose the innocent student to a necessary delay in their career. At the end of the day, for a student who you delayed that is going for 4 years course, you minus 2 years for your own strike, what is the student going to assimilate to become a very well-baked graduate? At the end of the day, we cry, we have half-baked graduates. These are symptoms of possession of our half-baked or non-baked graduates that cannot even do any or manifest any success in relation to whatever they study. How to write, how to deal, how to even talk. You see that no manner within the society, because the university or the school system is gradually dying. Even not just ASU alone. If you go to primary, secondary, there are crises there. There's no patriotism as we used to have it in the old. So when they lack patriotism and they are not patriotic about their duty, if ASU alone is going on strike, lawyers goes on strike, police goes on strike, everybody have right to go on strike, just like the way the NUPENG and the NNPC, the oil workers, we just shut down. Everybody cannot, even NLC, you cannot just be threatening and be shutting down system with strike. Strike is a huge catastrophe in our administrative process. Just like you have a legal department. The legal department of this union needs to be all engaging. When there are issues, you write. That's your pre-action notice will form a publication and a warning signal to the whatever your demands are. A lot of your demands are archaic, are even shrouded in secrecy. So, and most of these demands are met internally, because a school in the north is different from a school in the south. Every state equally have supportive mechanism to their various tertiary institutions, even when they are federal institutions. There are some federal institutions that state also provide some subtle measure of support, because the environment that federal institution is cited is owned by the state. So the state will do the road, do some construction, even donate into the federal university. You see philanthropies that are not even part of the federal university, but because it is within their state, like what Femi Gbajabiamila did in the University of Lagos, it's not because it's University of Lagos, but because it's within the Lagos state that he is also from. So there are a lot of other legacies that the university system gain. Majority of these lecturers, senior lecturers, also have their books that they sell and they make money out of it. And this has not been banned by ASU. And there's no caution on the part of the management. So there are other excesses that, by the time, is based on my experience. I was the general secretary of the LASU Student Union. I was the clerk of the Parliamentary House of the Student Union. I was a NANS Lagos Axis chairman. So I know what strikes had caused and is causing, and the dangers of strike are endless. So just to caution and alert that enough of warning alerts for you to go on strike. Let the University Autonomous Rights Bill that was signed by Obasanjo, which is now a law, because when ASU and some university management had issues under in 2015 when Buhari came on board, I led a legal battle against the federal government that the federal government do not have power to control the internal management and removal of pro-chancellors or within the university. They don't have that right to interfere with the affairs or the internal affairs of the school. And the federal government waived that political intrusion, and we were able to achieve that. So we'll also only be gaining when they had issues and they are dying, and you went and rescued them. But now they are university autonomous, they've gained more money, but who is auditing them? And that's what we are asking. The federal government gave some conditions the last time that the federal university, the institution should be remitting some certain amount of money, meaning it's a truth. You cannot be collecting 150,000 naira school fees. You have acceptance fee of 50,000 in some institution. You have some unscrupulous and unaccounted expenses. You even see some schools that law graduates have to pay practicing professional fees in some professional courses in some universities. These are just manners of corruption that have eaten deep. And the university management this same set of ASUU are the one gaining from all this. This same set of non-academic staff are the one gaining from all this money. So when they are not being, when you requested that they themselves should remit, because it's a commercial enterprise. Other we want to say education is expensive. So whatever the universities are making, they use it to make a turnaround of themselves. And that's why you see vice chancellors immediately they leave the institution they are meant to manage. They go to open a private university for themselves because they are on the NUC, Nigerian University Commission, is a body of vice chancellor. They are always everywhere to just change the system. So education corruption is killing, and this strike system is one of the impediments of growth for education.
A couple of questions shortly. But you mentioned a while ago that, I mean, you would expect naturally that unions like ASUU, SANU, NASU, and the rest of them should understand that there is the industrial courts, and that's where they, I mean, probably should take all of these, their concerns. But you and I know, I mean, you've been a lawyer who has, I mean, you come with sizable experience under your belt. Understand very clearly that this is a country where we are seeing government after government, I mean, showing flagrant disobedience to court orders. As it stands today, I mean, records show very clearly that there have been judgments, there have been orders coming out of industrial courts time and again that the government, at all levels, top to bottom, have refused to honor or even acknowledge, basically. And then you hear unionists, including ASUU, NASU, and SANU, telling you, look, strike is the last resort, and that's why we always call for industrial action. Is it not only appropriate that we cut these unions some slack in that regard?
Oh, no. No one can hold it on the fact that judgments are not being implemented. How many of these court processes are we aware of? How many? We're only aware when this matter gets to strike. There is no even the gestation period of warning strike most of the time are just 1 week, 2 weeks. How would you expect a policy that you are proposing within 48 hours and 2 weeks to be implemented? No. These are management and administrative interests. The majority of what they are demanding are self-inflicted injuries they cause themselves as a result of excess corruption. And that's why I'll continue.
Again, that was a bit of a glitch, and funny enough, Queen. By the way, Queen Agaba is on the show this morning. Good to see you as always.
Good morning. Good to see you too.
We're just talking to Barrister Oladoto Hassan now, and I mean, we just experienced a bit of a hitch with the network. You know, this morning at the top of the program, I was talking about the sea cable problem that has affected data and voice services across networks and even beyond Nigeria recently. Hopefully that's not what we have just experienced again.
Hopefully too.
Yeah, on the show this morning. But we'll be rejoined by Barrister Oladoto Hassan. I know this time we understand he's back on with us. So Oladoto, you were making a point a while ago about how that 1 week warning strike or notice, is not enough for the government to take a decision.
You cannot. Correct someone. Grandstand method, because grandstanding is not part of rule of law. And I've always reiterated that we, most of the time, the citizens and the students are not aware. Because if you are going to court and you want to fight for your welfare, it's the students' welfare that you are fighting their cause, because your interest is that of the student. But most of the time, the student union in all these universities, this same set of university lecturers don't give room for student union to operate. They ban student union at any given point. They raise any challenge against the management when they witness any iota of corruption. They don't even have thick skin to give room for student unionism to operate. I've been part of student unionism, and I know what unionists face on campus, just fighting against school fees, trying to ensure that some obnoxious demands are not being allowed. You see how some university management go gaga to shut down any decent opinion on campus. They run a despotic and totalitarian means of administration. And this has really got deep into them, that they don't even give room for deep reasoning when they want to go on strike. They just believe that the way they can shut down student unionism is the same way they can go and just tell the whole world that we are not fed, and go to their comfort. No non-academic staff is not well fed or do not have a house on his head. They made more money even while you are coming. No non-academic staff. We have a way. We've all been in the university setup. Even for you to be on a queue to get your exam form, in one way or the other, they collect tipping, which has now become a natural flow that there's some corruption in the university system that they are just natural and you cannot stop it. It's religiously followed as a system. In a normal climate, once you pay your school fees, you don't need to pay acceptance fee. Acceptance fee for what? There are some charges that does not even have reasoning with anything, because the only thing you are entitled to pay is your school fees. But most of the time, you pay the school fees, you go to the department, they will still collect registration for your department that you have already paid for. You even go as far as paying for some courses that you usually need to not to have even paid for. You register for those courses, they issue you receipts for doing a course that you are not supposed to pay for. You pay departmental fee. These are monies that are just going within the internal structures of the school. These are these are issues. So if they are looking at the fact that, if you go to court, the court don't implement, the present government states the honor rule of law. It is what you are coming to fight for, which is almost shrouded in secrecy. When the federal government brought about this IPPS, that they are to have an harmonized data of all the staffs in the school, nothing meaningful was done to safeguard this whole process. So for real, we cannot just be expecting that ASUU will deliver within this short-changing model of dealings, because they say they are not ASUU. But these are members of ASUU. ASUU is part of this gimmick. ASUU believe that for the part that the federal government have paid them 4 months, let them use another sister union to wreak havoc. And their sister union, another baby pet union, as ASANU. So, and we have NASU. So if NASU have their own bite to also go on strike, let's see what they want to hear. What are they fighting for? What welfare are they fighting for? Are they accountable to the student? Can they just allow the student life to go smoothly? Must they become a structural impediment to the growth? That's my own demand. You cannot usurp a duty you have been paid for monthly. They will not tell you that they don't receive salaries. What they are looking for is other garnished welfare, which is a normal thing in a normal crime. We have always agitated that, oh, let education budget be no less than 25%, both federal, state, and local government, because that is the minimum that we can utilize a growing state. But because corruption is embedded everywhere, anyone that finds themselves in this, if you know what they go through to even become vice chancellors in some schools, the kind of war of attrition that you witness is more than Hitler war. So we must be guided that this issue of ASUU strike should be treated cautiously, and they should tread cautiously as well. If the federal government and the government is making means to sort out issues, they shouldn't be so much emboldened, orchestrating unnecessary attrition and crisis in the university environment. Let there be more. Let every institution that ASUU and SESTANU, let them treat their ailments internally. These are different schools. You have federal owned schools, you have some state owned schools, but when you are talking about ASUU strike, all of them goes on strike, both state and federal, even private universities. Somehow you just don't see them making noise. But if they maybe because of these private universities needs to have more students, they need to kill the public schools. That's why public institutions are being killed from the oil and gas, from hospitals. You see medical doctors going on strike because they want their private hospitals to grow. You see academic professors and all this goes on strike because they want their private universities to grow. Most of them operate 5 to 10 schools that they teach, especially private institutions. They give 2 days a week within the institution they are meant to teach. They will say, okay, I'm coming Thursdays and Fridays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, and the other days are for other schools. That you cannot be earning twice while you are being employed in the civil service. But they earn 4, 5, 6 money from different institutions. Who is auditing them? Are they truthful to all of us? So these are issues that I'm very, very more conversant with. And the federal government should sit tight and ensure that there is proper coordination, because the federal government at most times, especially Federal Ministry of Education, have lost it because those are the aims of these ministries, lack cognate experience on education. Education is not just all commerce affairs for every politician to come and manage. It's a deep-rooted, central area of development of the economy that you just have to look deeply beyond the 4 walls of you buying chalks and bags or the wall of you buying computers. There is more to it. The administrative structure, which is very, very deep and depth in corruption. If these are not clearly cleared and the debris of the past woes are not properly treated, many strikes are still going to bedevil the development, not just the ASUU. We'll see the NMA, we'll see every other department of our state unions going gaga. So this should have been a symptoms that can be cured. It's not a terminal disease, but I still believe it's a curable one. The only thing they need to do is to change their mentality and shift away from the paradigm of strikes.
Okay, Mr. Hassan, thank you. Now we see that the Senior Staff Association of Nigeria and NASU, they've made their demands, and asking for immediate payment. What do you make of the silence from the federal government, knowing that no statements have been made yet? And then I want to know the way forward, instead of the incessant strike, what do you advise that, what steps do you advise that this organization take moving forward?
Well, there is no hand in negotiation. And in ADR, that is Alternative Dispute Mechanism resolution, is a win-win situation. And I want to implore that this approach of Gestapo style, of saying, no, we need this money if we don't get it, is more like an armed robber with a gun. If you owe the next party to ransom, because you are at an advantage position of authority, that you are the lecturer, that if you don't fail to give me this thing, I will shut down the system. These are what is called undue influence in law. It's called duress. And there are some certain things that has criminal ingredients in it. These are intended duress, not just warning strikes. You don't place yourself in an advantageous position that you are a lecturer, then the exams are already coming on the campus, students are already preparing for their semester's exam, and within this short period of time, you ignite your demand for strike. That, oh, if you don't pay me within this period, I will not even allow. And you know that everybody, a lot of people are affected. Parents are affected because the more you go on strike, the more money they pay to rent hostels around the communities of the university, because most of these universities don't have capacity hostels. Even their hostels are dilapidated. They don't even have management, structural development plans. They themselves lack it. So the parents, the burden of these their little mistakes, I would call it, these are huge mistakes, are resultant effect that affect the parents. So therefore, I want to implore those are the aims of ASUU, CESANU, and all these unions to think twice and employ other means, which is constructive engagement with the critical sectors, whereby ASUU and CESANU can even explore private intervention support program. We have the PTDF. Where is the fund for PTDF going? Where are all these subventions of universities? How are they being spent? Accountability is the root cause of all these issues. If SANU and ASUU too are accountable and they are transparent, the university that is to release more money for them will also want to know the money we give you 2 months ago, how were you able to utilize it? Anytime you ask the university lecturers or the vice chancellors to show accountability, they begin to erupt about volcanic eruption in their various institutions, all in the bid to distract. And that is why I want to call that the ICPC should also be involved, meaning they are part of administrative investigative department of government, should also have internal agents within various institutions. It should have an office that regulates the financial deal list of the school. Not that they don't have independence to spend their money, but there must be monitoring. So if all these institutionalized structures are on ground, I'm sure ASUU will not just have this overbearing monopoly of thinking. They should place us at a disadvantageous position. There should be an equilibrium point. If what you are asking for had been met for 4 months payment, and you are now coming with another decoy of another ASUU and CESANU to shut down schools, these are criminal intended duress. And the government, DSS, should usually look at it if it is for sabotage, because there are a lot of sabotage going on in this administration. Sabotage from education to oil and gas to even our nominal life. Power, there is sabotage. Agriculture, there is sabotage. So who are these people? Just don't want the Nigeria to grow. And God has blessed us. We have best of students. Look at the law school with flying colors of first-class graduates within these same institutions that we are talking about, that are moribundly managed by these same lecturers. Students that are not allowed to have their 5 years course program are going and reading in pains privately. While the university were resuming, they are scoring first class because they never allowed themselves to be dampened. That is the fighting spirit that the majority of us went through. Because once you are resuming after strike, you're only just given 2 weeks to prepare for exams and tests. So you now be running around. Lecturers will just come and say, we are just doing revision. Revision of what you have not even taught us. You just want to do a crash and lecturing program. If you don't read overnight, which is our culture, you don't have tutorials, you don't have past students that are passed through those classes to teach you, you will just be a total unbaked graduate. Because the system had been lampooned to make sure that students are not properly baked, because they don't teach rigorously. So only those that have those fighting spirits. And you should learn to understand, not everybody can assimilate at the same range. It's medically proven. So we need every hands to be on deck to develop our education sector. It's not just about pumping 25%
want to say a big thank you to you, Barrister Hassan Oladitu, for coming on the program and share with us this morning. Quite got to me where he talked about how that, on account of all of these problems that we have within the university system, the public university for that matter, we now have some students that are half-baked and some who are not baked at all. That's, I mean, it sounds a bit funny, but it really isn't funny. Because it's already a problem that you have students, I mean graduates who are half-baked. And now he's talking about those who are not baked at all. So, yeah, so if you wanted to go literal with the interpretation, it means it's pretty much like someone eating raw flour, right? Not baked, not processed, nothing added by way of value or trying to garnish, or as one of my superiors would say, I mean, embellish, that sort of thing. But yes, just to add to that, the fact that, I mean, all the things he has said now are just a pointer to the urgent need to fix our education system, particularly as it has to do with the public university system.
Urgently, and that just goes to tell you the kinds of people that are now pushed out from the university into the workforce. You just can imagine what it's going to look like. We have people who will now possibly be in the health sector, who are going to be called doctors, who are half-baked or not even baked at all. They'll find their way into these systems. And this is all because of how the structure of the educational system is. And so this is, like you said, an urgent call and a need for the educational system to be reformed, to be looked into and to be checked, so that when people go to school, they don't spend such amount of time in school only to come out half-baked. Or you go to school, a course that's supposed to take you 4 years, you're spending 8 years, and in that 8 years, obviously, you're not even as learned as someone who stays 4 years because of the consistency.
So it's like burning the candle on both ends. On the one hand, you're spending a lot of time, and then, which is not normal, and then you're still not getting the value
that you should get. Because, you know, when there's that break, a lot of things happen. There's the distortion.
Right.
You're supposed to be 4 years. What's supposed to be 4 years? School that you're supposed to, the course you're supposed to take and be consistent in it. Come out and then, you know, practice. Come out and then work towards what you have learned. It is now distorted. In your first year, there's a strike, you are away, and you're coming back. So there's so much distortions, and you find out that people are not even interested anymore. I see, even online, people just say they're just waiting to be done with this school so that they can just go find something else for themselves, you know. So passion, particularly people who had passion for maybe medicine initially, but because of how disoriented the educational system is, you discover that a lot of people are now, you know, laid back. They just feel like, okay, let me just get this degree. For the want of not going through school and not making the degree or dropping out, let me just, you know, finish up in the long run, and then maybe they discover something else or decide to go into something else.
I can imagine, and that's quite a painful thing to do, especially in the 21st century, 24 years into this new millennium, where education is a pivot for national development, especially now looking at how that education itself has evolved very drastically. And that, again, is a big conversation we must continue to have. We're taking a quick break now. The rest of the show returns shortly. Do stay with us.